When I was young, I was probably about 5 or 6, and I was at a summer camp. And I walk on the bus, and I have big, huge, blonde, curly hair, and I'm just kind of like this, hey, just sort of like, just loving. And so, but I had a little bit of fear because I was sensitive to, I can feel things,
Yeah.
So I'm walking on the bus and I start feeling a little trepidation, and I'm walking towards the end of the bus because there were no seats in the front. And these bunch of guys, I could see one of them, the other ones are a little fuzzier. I was about 5 or 6. They were probably maybe 10 or 12, which seems, to me as an adult.
Yeah.
And they said, "You look like a girl. You look like a girl." And I said, "I'm not a girl. I'm not a girl. Stop saying I'm a girl." And they said, "You say you're a girl right now. Otherwise, we're going to find your parents and kill them." And what that did in my nervous system was something got lodged in there, that I can't be myself, that I can't speak my truth, that somehow being a girl is bad, that the qualities of the feminine are bad, that if I speak my truth and fight, because I started fighting and then I collapsed, because once they said, "We're going to kill your parents," if I speak my truth, then someone you love is going to die, someone close to you is going to die. And I carried that for a long time. And I carried that through elementary school, because I wasn't quite in elementary school yet. Elementary school, people pummel me or beat me up or call me names, or, get in the different groups that aren't the cool group. And I carried it into, different areas. And that was sitting in the back. If I speak my truth and I say what's true for me, or not even that, just that, but just be joy. If I actually be there in the world as a space of joy, as myself, as a space of love, something bad's going to happen to me and to people I love. So what happened was this, and I've done a lot of healing work for many years. And I've done therapy, group therapy. I'm in a healing ministry, so we're constantly healing ourselves. I'm in a spiritual school where we're constantly healing ourselves. Something happened where a few years ago, it was just the beginning of COVID. It was 2020. And it was probably about 6 months into COVID-ish. And I felt I was stepping into a new place within myself. The commitment to purpose was getting bigger. And I also felt something was stuck. And all the work I had done hadn't quite addressed it yet. And there was still some armor on my heart, where I wasn't willing to reveal something or whatever. Or a pain, something that I hadn't forgiven these people fully for bullying and name calling and stuff. And there's a point where I woke up on my birthday and I could not breathe. And every time I took a breath, it felt like I was having a heart attack. And, I went to the hospital. They couldn't find me. They thought it was COVID, but it wasn't. And they could not figure out what it was. And I left the hospital and got worse. And for 2 weeks, I literally I thought it was every breath I thought was my last breath. I could not get breath in me. And I talked to people and I did different practices to help calm my system. I had to sleep sitting up because every time I sit down, it felt like I was there was such pain I couldn't breathe. So I had to face death. And what I realized, I had this very strong message. I needed to forgive those people. I need to forgive anyone who would ever call me a name, hit me, had a perception or projection. And I needed to forgive myself for all the judgment I had of them, because that's what was really weighing me down, was all the judgment. And what really started healing me was first that realization, secondly, starting to play the piano. And I played myself to health along with a bunch of healers that were helping in prayer, many prayers. And this, over a series of months, just went away. It was almost unexplainable, because you would imagine I was having literally the symptoms of a heart attack, but they couldn't figure it out at the doctor. And it was a heart that was completely not yet transformed. After that experience, I didn't have I'm not saying people go through this kind of experience I had, but this is what I went through to heal something in me that wouldn't attach so much to people in pain, because I couldn't yet be with my own heart pain, and when I could be with that, then I can actually be with really intense pain that others are going through. So I say that because the inner work I do is really what got me, that gets me to help people like that. And it was a tremendous amount of grace, and forgiveness and presence that really healed the heart.
Do you know, as you were saying that, I had goosebumps since you were talking about that feeling of like my chest, like it resonates in so many ways. So I want to just say that and thank you for sharing it. In my office, I'm in a new office. There's a piano in this office. Now I don't play the piano, and I don't know what I gotta get rid of it somehow. But there's this piano here, and every once in a while I'll walk by and just hit some keys. And I think I dreamed that one day I was gonna play the piano, but I didn't want to go to classes. And first we had no money, and then it was like when I found a class or something, I was like, I'm done with that. Was there a song was it just you just dabbling? Was it a song that was one of the things you played most often? I know we're running out of time, so I don't want to push it too long. But was there what was the process as you went up to the keys?
Okay, so let me give some context to this, and I'll answer that. I had played classical music for 12 years. The challenge is I had trouble reading music. So I would get very frustrated because I'm a perfectionist. And it was, I'd play really complicated pieces. And at some point I couldn't handle the performance. It was too stressful. I went away from the piano I would tinker on the piano. And at some point about 20 years later, my partner, Miriam, and I, she was hearing me, I would call channel. I was just not reading music. I was just playing, I could hear my fingers, where I should put my hands. Let's put it that way. Even though I can't read notes, I would just kind of feel it. And she encouraged me, you got to make an album and play more. And I was just playing for myself. But over time, I found a way to bring music in the moment. And it's very healing. So in that moment when that was happening, I had been doing this for years already. I felt in me, it said, go to the piano, just stop thinking about the breath, go to the piano. It's going to come through you. And I set up my keyboard with my computer, which just sounds ridiculous. I can't breathe. I'm sitting on my keyboard, and I sat there and I could feel so much presence is the best way to describe it, coming in through my heart around me. And it just said, just start. And I started, and about 54 minutes later, I finished. And it was a song that it's called Love's Embrace, is what I called it. And it just played for almost an hour. It just threw. And it was like it was a gift. And that's kind of what healed my heart fully. And then eventually I put it out there. And I have heard from people that have cancer who are dying in extreme pain that they play it, and it brings them a lot of peace. So something must have happened that came through that particularly helps with that.
Love's Embrace. Thank you. Love's Embrace.